Good afternoon or good morning, everybody. We're back with the right side of campus here on November 1st, 2018. It's Thursday. I guess I thought it was a little bit later in the day. I don't know what time it is anymore half the time. I don't even know what Donnie, I don't even know what's going on half the time. I'm so busy with these shows. I think I did 30 shows yesterday, I think. That's what it was. How you doing, Donnie?
Doing good. Hey, man, nice little warm day in the Northeast. Going to be approaching 70 degrees. So let's live it up and have some fun today on the right side of campus.
We will. Hope everyone had a great evening. Halloween last night. I hope you had a spooky Halloween, whatever you did. We move on, though, to Thursday night. Got some football tonight. Got some headlines. Got all sorts of stuff to talk about. We'll get into that and more as we always do on the show. Do want to shout out SBR. Make sure you're checking out everything SBR has to offer from the odds page to the sportsbook review side, the forum to the YouTube channel. YouTube channel, one of the biggest in the on the internet as far as sports betting is concerned. Almost 50,000 subscribers. Make sure you're checking out everything that SBR has to offer. Donnie, we will start it out here this morning with some headlines. Now, how was your Halloween last night, right, Don?
It was good. Good. Typical Halloween night. Actually got to bed a little bit early. It was right around 9:30 for me. Slowed some extra Z's, man. Feeling good and ready for today.
Make sure also if you can hit the like button as well. Donnie, let's get into the show here. We'll start it out with some morning headlines. And the Red Sox had their World Series parade yesterday. Another World Series, good for them. Uh, there was a couple arrests though, including a 19-year-old who threw a beer and it looked like it hit the trophy a bit. According to the report, beer missile struck Alex Cora as well. I'm a little behind on this story. I didn't hear about this. Why don't you tell us more about it, Donnie? I didn't read this story until today.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Boston just getting real soft out there, but I think it's an annual tradition now in world championship parades that the players are up there. They actually probably don't even need to bring their alcohol anymore because, as a sign of affection, you want to throw them a beer so they can crack it open and chug it and have some fun. But it looks like Boston a little bit softer now, Jeff. Ooh, don't throw the beer. Don't throw the beer, man. I don't know. It was a really weird story. And you're not paying attention. I mean, Alex Cora, didn't you play baseball before when they're lobbing beers up to you to drink? You just didn't catch it and you took one in the face? I don't know. It's a real weird story where guys are getting arrested for throwing beers when every single parade I watch, the teams are begging people to throw them beers to drink. So I don't know. I don't know what's up with Boston anymore. A little too soft, Jeff, with all these world championships now?
No, I mean, he probably didn't see it. I'm gonna go ahead and guess it probably wasn't thrown to him. It was probably thrown or tossed and it hit him. I mean, I don't think he's soft. How's he soft? Maybe didn't know. Maybe he didn't see it, Donnie. Maybe all these beers are being thrown. And he didn't see it. I hate the fucking Red Sox,
Yeah,
but
it's the first I've
hey,
heard. This is the
listen.
first I've heard of like a team getting angry with the fans for lobbing them beers. It happens all the time. But hey, maybe that's Boston now. Maybe they wanted a Chardonnay or something like that?
Yeah, I'm just being honest. I seen posts of these guys. It didn't seem like they were mad that people were throwing them beers. I saw them all whacked out of their minds, supposedly. But maybe I don't know. At the end of the day, maybe they're getting sick of winning. I don't know. But shout out to the Red Sox. They won yesterday. Congratulations. Derrick Rose put his team on his back last night like a real professional does. 50. What a night for Derrick Rose. We haven't heard from him in a while. He's kind of been, he's injured a lot, and just he's never really healthy. But the guy's worked hard. He's had a tough career. Nice to see him get a 50 burger last night, and it was on Jimmy Butler Diva night, so it worked out even better. Good for Derrick Rose.
Yeah, I wonder how many, I don't know. It's at the NBA last night, Halloween, how many people watch it, but it's always an interesting story when you get 50. But in this new NBA, as like to call it, Jeff, 50-point night's probably going to start to be common with all these records being broken for point scoring. But it is nice. You're going to hit a milestone and you fought all the way back from all the injuries. You got 50 and, it's a feel good story. So you got to talk about it a little bit at least, right?
Jesus Christ, Donnie, you're like Mike Francesa. Do you think? Are you happy about anything? Really,
Well, I mean, what am I happy for?
Donnie.
I could care
Like,
less
as
about
soon as
Derrick
I as
Rose,
soon as
but
I
he did
say
get
something,
50.
as soon as I say
Congratulations.
something about Derrick Rose, she goes. As soon as I say something about Derrick Rose, she goes, "Well, I don't know if anybody watched it." Well, of course, none of us watched it. We didn't
Yeah, but
have it
did
on our
anybody
TV,
actually
unfortunately.
watch the game? Yeah, exactly. I mean, it wasn't
Yeah, but we watched it
monumental out
after the
there in a
fact.
regular season meaningless NBA game. I mean, yes, he got 50. That's why we're talking about it today. It's really nice, but in the, annals of NBA, historic nights, it's, probably 1042 on the list.
Yeah, I guess he should have dropped 60. That would have probably been maybe moved the needle for right side. He would have been
That
a
would have
little
been
bit more
better, yeah.
excited.
I remember I
It's
remember
it's a
Dana I remember
headline,
Dana
Donnie.
Barros dropping 50 for the Sixers. Yeah, it is. That's why we put it as a headline. Rose got 50. Awesome. They ain't gonna win anything.
He's what else do we have here? Well, again, I'm just reporting the news here. Uh, Manny Machado thanks the Dodgers. Why don't you tell us about this? I don't follow baseball right now. I don't think anyone cares about baseball right now. What do you got on it, Donnie?
Yeah, Manny thanks. I mean, it was when the Dodgers made the trade, they basically all but said this is a rental for 1 year. It doesn't matter if Manny Machado leads us to a World Series. Doesn't matter if Manny Machado hits 47 home runs in the last month and a half in baseball. We are not re-signing him. So the writing was on the wall for a long time. Just thank the Dodger fans out there. So now he is a free agent on the open market. And if you want to read into the other big name free agent, Bryce Harper, his deal is already in place and he's just waiting to tell people about it. So Machado thanks the Dodger fans, moves on. It's going to be interesting to see how much money he actually makes, how much money he cost himself in the World Series. But look, if you're dealing with 300 million or 250 million, I really don't think he's going to care one way or another. He'll just find a good spot where he can hit a lot of home runs and maybe get after the rest of his career. But he did thank the Dodgers, and a lot of Dodger fans are like, oh, they'll just re-sign. No, no, no. They were never re-signing him. Seager's going to take his place there. Manny Machado will move on. And again, the Dodgers do have an unlimited payroll. I get that, but the Dodgers probably don't want to add another $30 to $35 million with one player when maybe Seager can just take over and be much cheaper at that price.
DJ Durkin out at Maryland. Not sure why it took this long. DJ Durkin should have been fired a long time ago. But he's out at Maryland after off season that involved a player dying under his supervision and some very poor practice tactics, according to players. Maryland's had a weird or tough couple of seasons. I mean, you look back years ago. I mean, they really haven't been the same. I mean, they had Ralph Friedgen many years ago, but I mean, it's really been a cast of casts off ever since then, as far as coaches are concerned. The program's had some trouble. There's been a lot of dysfunction. Um, but they need to try to pick up the pieces here and move on. And you bring in the right coach because, listen, Nani, I think one of the, and I don't think this is any surprise to people, but I think this is the one of the best things I've ever said on these channels is how important coaching is in college sports. And we see it time and time again in these programs. You don't make the right decision, your program falls behind the wayside, and it has to be picked up. We'll see if Maryland picks it up. But Durkin had to go, and they made that decision. Yes.
Yeah, it was interesting because the one thing I wanted to dig into here is I would like to see because if Durkin goes as the CEO, I understand that it's bad for public support. Even though I had no bearing on the kid actually passing away, that was all on the strength coach there, so he should be gone and be liable. There's no question about that. But more importantly, the entire medical staff for the University of Maryland should all be liable and fired immediately because it was on their watch what they're supposed to prevent. They didn't prevent it. So I wonder how many people, like the student trainers, the head athletic trainer, all the entire training department, I wonder if they get let go as well because they were the ones that were the culprits in the entire thing. So look, public perception is going to be everything. The one thing I laugh a little bit about Maryland is it's a coaching graveyard as is. I don't know who would ever want a job at Maryland. They're not going to support you. You're not going to get the top end recruits, and you're going to get pounded on a year-to-year basis. But if you do take the head coaching job, Jeff, it's a great job because you are going to have it for a year or two. You'll probably sign a 5-year deal, and they'll pay you millions of dollars just to go away. But Maryland is a football program. Same thing as Rutgers is a football program. They're like half in it. Jeff, like, if it works out, maybe we'll have some fun and we'll win some games, but they're not a football school. Same thing as Rutgers isn't a football school, and they don't even pretend it. They're just taking that academic analysis being in the Big Ten. Look at us. Maybe we'll compete in basketball, but it's not a football institution. So they had to go. And the liable status, you ran your own internal investigation that showed Durkin had no qualms, or I should say no qualms. Durkin wasn't involved whatsoever in this, and they cleared him. But public perception will force you out the door. And I get that because maybe donations stop and Maybe kids don't want to go there eventually. There's a lot of grumblings on campus. He had to go, but I would make it a point there to see how many people in that athletic department actually got fired because it was their fault that the kid actually passed away.
Well, I mean, listen. I mean, let me ask you something. You played football. You know the story.
Hmm.
When coach tells you to
Yeah.
do something, you do it. Again, if this person that passed away was complaining that he's not able to go, you don't keep telling him he has to keep going. I don't think that's on the trainers, Donnie. Don't you agree with that in some
Well,
way?
no, the
I mean,
trainers,
he made him continue
no,
to.
look, the strength coach was wrong. Like, and again, Willie Taggart gets a major pass in this as well, Jeff. I mean, you're a big Oregon guy. A year and a half ago, he sent 3 players to the hospital, and they just slapped the guy on the wrist and said no big deal. But at least maybe Oregon's athletic training staff knew enough when these guys were really in trouble to get them off the field and get them the help they needed. When the Maryland guys seemed to be just hands off, saying, drag this guy off the field. We're not even going to help him, when there could have been 15 different checkpoints that could have helped this kid out, maybe saved his life. That's the point I'm making on this one. The strength coach is wrong. Look, when the guy's in arrest, and I know you're trying to be tough and push through it because Maryland's a soft football program. You want to change it up, just like Willie Taggart tried at Oregon there from the soft Mark Helfrich teams. But you have to have competent athletic training staffs around you that if you're going to push these kids, and all over the country, these kids are getting pushed to the max. But if you're just going to ignore signals, you're all culpable. The strength coach has to go. The athletic training department entirely has to go. And then I guess the CEO, who's the head football coach, is going to end up going as well. But maybe some new stuff has been put into place here at Maryland and across the country. And, you're going to have more water breaks, and you can't push these guys to the max. That's probably what's going to take place here with the laws and rules of the NCAA.
It all kind of happens around the whole thing of if it happens under your control, you got to go. You know. Um,
Yeah, no, I agree. Same thing with
that's
the big
kind of how
company.
it
Like
works.
stocks drop. Your lower level guys didn't do the job. You know who goes first, Jeff? The CEO goes first. You know what I mean? So I
It's kind
understand
of
that.
like Donnie. Remember, I don't know if you remember, but in The Wire, when remember when Major Colvin creates Amsterdam, and like the mayor's basically saying, "Well, it happened under your watch," to the commissioner, and the commissioner
Yeah.
says that it's not his thing. It was a rogue police commander that did it on his own. But yeah, but you didn't have oversight. You weren't involved enough in seeing what was going on around the department. So a similar situation, and hey, not far away either. Same state. Donnie, I'd have to imagine Matt Canada would be the next coach there. I don't know if they go through a different coaching search, but he is the interim currently. Le'Veon Bell, will he be out all year? I mean, I don't know at this point how he isn't. I mean, still isn't reported. It's just a week to week thing now at this point. Is he going to come? Is he not? How healthy is this guy? Is he ready to play in general? Just a complete mess with this guy. I mean, how many times have we talked about
And he
this?
doesn't even accrue it. And I free it. The whole point of him reporting, it's not like, oh, Le'Veon Bell doesn't want to play. He has to report if he wants to be a free agent next year. Like, is he just going to sit this out and test the Steelers that they're not going to just apply the franchise tag to him again? And is he going to sit out again? Like, what is the point here? If he was smart, Jeff, don't you think if Le'Veon Bell was smart, right? It's week 3. You sign your letter, or letter of intent. You sign the franchise tag and you come into camp. And you half-ass it, right? Look, just trade me now. I'm here. I want to be traded. I really don't feel like practicing today. I really don't feel like doing it because if you cut him, he still gets his pay for the entire year because he signed the franchise tag. Wouldn't, if you're Le'Veon Bell, have come to camp and been a distraction? Do you remember a couple years ago, Jeff? Look, this is not, the Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre regime change. I'm going to retire. Brett Favre says I might. All right, good, cool. We're going to Aaron Rodgers. And then Favre comes back and goes, you know what? I want to play. And they go, well, Aaron Rodgers is the starter here. Yeah, you know what? I'm on a plane headed up to Green Bay. I'm playing. How fast did he get traded to the Jets, Jeff? You know what I mean? Like, why isn't Le'Veon Bell using his leverage to his advantage at this point? I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, he's at this point, it's starting to get a little ridiculous, isn't it? I don't think I've ever seen this before. I mean, we've been watching football for a long time. They usually report though after a while. Um,
It doesn't.
Donnie,
And it
one
doesn't
more.
make any sense because he's a top of the echelon pay level guy too. This isn't like, would everybody be on Le'Veon Bell's side? It's like, yo, Le'Veon's making $475,000 this year, and the Steelers won't pay him. That's
Yeah,
messed up.
he's
But
making
this
like
is
9 million a
completely
year.
different. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Sure.
Good.
Uh, yeah, one more here before we go. We didn't talk about this because we weren't here yesterday. We were at the round table, but do want to throw this out, Donnie. Obviously, the Whitey Bulger murder was quite interesting. Whitey dies at 89. You live by the sword, you die by the sword, as they say. But after hearing, Donnie, about how it all happened, you got to wonder about the federal prison system and what exactly is going on. Again, I would imagine the guard was paid off and he just looked another way, and these four went in and beat up this guy. And again, according to reports, Donnie, they also tried to cut his tongue out of his mouth after there was a hit put out against Whitey many years ago for his snitching on Italian mafia members. According to reports, they tried to pull his tongue out because that was a proof that Whitey was actually murdered by them. Um, Crazy story here. I guess one of the attackers, which I called perfectly, is a hitman, a Greek hitman that was involved here. Lot of stuff going on at this federal prison, Donnie, but Whitey dead at 89.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're gonna live by the sword, you die by the sword, right, Jeff? You live that lifestyle. You watch all these mobster movies and how it all goes down, or gang members. Eventually, there's only a few ways out in life in that, Jeff. And most, if it's not the guy just breaking clean of the system and living a nice, happy life somewhere in Arizona or California, you know what you get into at an early age, and eventually it's going to end bad for you. And especially, Jeff, if I'm going to say, where Whitey Bulger was at, a lot of these guys aren't getting out, right, Jeff? So what are you going to do? Tack on another life sentence to some of these people? They're going to make amends in that spot, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah, as far as Whitey Bulger, good riddance. To me, Whitey Bulger is the antithesis of pathetic. Not only, well, again, he was a mob guy, which it is what it is, but he was then also ratting these guys out, and he gets off everything because he knows about things. He's able to escape the government. So again, a real scumbag in general. Now, as far as this guy, Donnie, this killer, um, death row is generally better than general population. So it's really not the worst thing in the world. He's not getting out anyway. Freddie Giaz is a mafia hitman. He'll never get out of jail. So yeah, it's a notch on your belt, Donnie, as they say. Let's move
Mhm.
on. Get into Thursday night football. Which, listen, I'm going to come out and say it. I have no fucking interest in this game, Donnie. Maybe you do. We'll be interested to hear
Yeah.
your opinion, as always, with your football acumen. But I mean, this has to be the worst game in history. I mean, this seriously. I'm not even kidding. And you know what's crazy? There's
No, it's
better
I don't
games on the
think
college
it's
card.
bad. It will be. Yeah, no, there is. And I don't think it's going to be that bad of a game. Here's the problem that you're going to have if you're betting this game, right, Jeff? Who's coming out for quarterback at San Francisco? Because CJ Beathard has shown that he can play in the NFL. When he's playing right, the offense can move the football, they can be competitive. But if you're going to go to Nick Mullins and then give him his first start on a short week on a Thursday night game, gotta say, man, I'm leaning towards the Oakland Raiders. And look, we're always say like, well, wait a second, Thursday travel, home team. Who's traveling here, Jeff? I mean, we saw it a couple weeks ago where the Eagles just took a hour and a half train up to New York and just banged out the New York Giants, because that's not really that much of a road game or travel conditions that you have. Both of these teams across the bay from each other going to play. So you're not going to have that we got to get on a plane to go 6 hours or lose a whole day and we don't practice. But I'll be damned if I'm betting the San Francisco 49ers, Jeff, with Nick Mullins at quarterback. Dare I say Oakland should be the play tonight, Jeff? What do you think?
I mean, I'm not saying this is a bad game from a betting perspective. If you can find value in it, do it. And there might be value, and we haven't really looked at it. I'm just saying it's from a game, like looking at the game, it's pure crap, man. Like I won't watch a minute of it. Not even a minute. As far as the play, I mean, shout out Nick Mullins, Southern Miss in the building, Donnie, as they say. I got to look more into the game. I'll have something at 3 o'clock when we do our show at WCKG
There's
Fox News
no
Radio
way. There's
Chicago
no
and on
look.
the
I'm telling you right
web.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Beathard can't go tonight. Now look, he still might start, but if he's showing up in press conferences hiding his hand and not practicing or throwing the football, something leads me to believe on your throwing hand, if you're not really throwing or practicing, you're probably not going to be all that effective when the game comes around. And then you're going to hand it over to Nick Mullins. Let me hear the opinions out there that the Niners, because I do think the Niners are a better organization, but at least you have a quarterback on the other side who's been there. Now, he might make some stupid throws, but when he can turn it on, he can score points. The Raiders are going to be able to move the football. I'll be damned if I'm taking Nick Mullins as a favorite. And we're not even talking about, Jeff, like, hey, this move was coming. Like, we're going to get ready for Nick Mullins. We got the bye week. He's got 2 weeks to get ready. Hey, Nick, you got a day worth of practice, bro, to get out there and have your NFL debut. Who wants that? And as a favorite? I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about this one, Donnie. Again, I gotta look more in depth, and we gotta know what the exact quarterback situation. What a mess of a quarterback situation if you're the 49ers. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo, no Bether. Now it's this guy. San Francisco's failed to cover in 7 of 8 as a favorite. They don't cover in this role often. I'm not running to lay points here with San Francisco. This is a weird game, tough game. San Francisco's lost 6 in a row. I'm sorry, 7 in a
I don't know
row.
how San Francisco even lost
And
to
you
Arizona the week before. That's another story. But yeah, if you're going to be questionable with a wrist and a thumb injury on your throwing hand, come on, man.
I
Yeesh.
mean, you look at this injury report for San Francisco. Richard Sherman, questionable. Raheem Mostert, running back, questionable. Matt Breida, a running back, questionable. Jaquiski Tart, out. Reuben Foster, out. Um, Weston Richburg, center, questionable. Pierre Garcon, questionable. I mean, what the hell is going on with this roster? I
Yeah, a
mean,
couple.
Christ,
Yeah, a couple
man.
big name guys on the defense out too. You're right. And then when it all breaks down to it, you're looking at, who actually wants to win this game in theory. You have Oakland that says we're all about draft picks. You have San Francisco who says if we win this game, that's going to give us another win and the tiebreaker over Oakland. So we're going to drop draft picks when the only thing you should care about with San Francisco now, Jeff, is what's the best draft pick we can get. It's a horrible betting situation. I
Seems like
understand their pros. I understand their coaches do want to win, but when it all boils down to it, who nobody wants to win this game.
a good tank game, Donnie. Tank it. You want
Yeah,
to tank
it
this game.
does.
Who
It does.
wants to win this game? I'd want to lose. We'll get to more of this on the show at 3 o'clock. Obviously, tune in for that. And also, Donnie, Hal Abrams asking one of my thoughts on Kansas, Michigan State. We don't have a line yet. I'm not going to comment on it, but I will, Donnie, tell everyone to go watch my college basketball preview. I had a preview yesterday, which I have to tell you, could have went for 3 hours. Only went for about 45 minutes, but did a lot of questions, answered a lot of things, talked about a lot of programs and where they're going, gave some really good betting acumen. So make sure you check that out on SBR. And Donnie, as always, we will get more into this game at 3 o'clock. Thursday night NCAA, nice card, Donnie, isn't it? By the way, last night, I think the game went kind of like we thought it would. Didn't go over the number, which I kind of recommended, but Ball State Ball State is, Donnie, without Neal, is the worst team in the country. I mean, they are really horrendous. They're just so poor on offense. They're absolutely terrible on defense. This line went up to close 21, Donnie. A huge move up. And Toledo
Yeah.
public covers here in this one.
Yeah, and they should have covered in that one. We talked about it yesterday. I was saying it was going to be a little bit high. I thought it would be a little bit higher scoring as well, just because it's a MAC game. But Toledo running away with that. Ball State doesn't have much to offer. When Neal is out, I mean, we've seen Plitt before in action. He's okay, and he actually put up some decent numbers if you just look statistically at the end of the game. But how many turnovers, man, left and right these guys were. This was the typical MAC game. Jeff would have 10 total turnovers, and you still had a cover. If you'd have said coming into the game, hey, by the way, Donnie, Toledo going to turn the ball over 4 times in this one. I'd be like, yo, give me the 21. Well, the other team turns it over 5 times. That's sort of going to counterbalance that. But Toledo was the clear. Looks like they're getting their mojo back a little bit. It's nice when you have a backup quarterback, Jeff, who can move the football and still run the offense, waiting for the returner to come back. But that's what Toledo does. They're more talented at running back, more talented at wide receiver, more talented at quarterback. And you saw that last night.
Ohio heading on the road to take on Western Michigan. Ohio at 3, total 64.5. This number continues to move up for the Bobcats. I gave it out yesterday, Donnie, as my play of the day on the roundtable at 2.5 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's now up to that solid 3 number, and this is kind of where Ohio kind of rises to the top as a program that's constantly in the running with this conference. They're just well coached. They normally turn it up when it comes to conference season, and it's interesting, Donnie. They always struggle out of conference. They don't play well against some of the higher end teams, but in their division, in their conference, they take care of business. They're normally right up there. And you look at why. I mean, Nathan Rourke, a terrific quarterback. They can move the football offensively on the ground with Irons and Olette. Defensively, they're actually improving quite a bit, only giving up about 17 points a game. over their last three. And, all of a sudden, this team is right back into the mix, winning 4 of 5. They're just good in this conference. That's all you got to say. And you look at Western Michigan, no John Wasink, which is obviously a big loss. He's a guy that can move around a little bit in the pocket and make stuff happen. He's not going to be in there, and that's a big blow to Western Michigan team, Donnie, that just really isn't very good on defense. And that's kind of one of your issues. You could at least score, but now it's to the point where it's difficult because you don't have a really capable quarterback. With an improved defense, with Ellaby making his kind of first start, he's a true freshman. I'm going to lean with Ohio. I think they're a really good play here. Western Michigan has also, Donnie, really struggled in pass protection. Ellaby was sacked 6 times last week. And for an Ohio defense that has struggled to get pressure, this could be a nice one for them as far as getting back into the swing of things. Give me Irons, give me Ouellette, give me Rourke. I think this is like a 40-24 type of game. I like Ohio in this one.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be that big of a blow. I'd like if it was maybe Ohio at home, I would think they would be able to carry the water for this game. I think Western Michigan's going to be okay because they're going to have 2 really talented running backs, and it's nice that the young kid got to have some play in the previous game, so he's not coming in cold in this game. He knows he's a starter, but it is a big injury to have Wasink out of the football game. I think Ohio's finally getting after their stride, though, Jeff. Struggles early on, didn't know what to make out. Now it looks like the offense is finally fine-tuned heading in this football game, and there's going to be a lot of people out there that say this, though, Jeff. 14 straight years it's been 14, probably 7 games overall, but 14 years where Ohio hasn't won at Western Michigan. So shout out if you're going all the way back and capping that game in 2004 and having it have some meaning in this game in 2018. I think you're right on because Ohio is built for this type of situation. The quarterback's going to be able to run read option out there. You're going to be able to hit the wide receivers. You're going to be able to get your running game going. But I do think Western Michigan's going to be able to come back and fight a little bit. I actually, Jeff, would lean a little bit more on the under in this game, sitting at 64.5, because we know one thing Ohio is going to do. They're going to rip off chunks. They're going to try to run the football. We get that. But they also are going to take a lot of time off the clock by snapping the ball under 5 seconds. This isn't a typical hurry up, break free, runaway type team. They are going to hit some big time plays, but they're going to run it up. They're going to run it off the clock. And a conversation on the other side for Western Michigan, Jeff, the younger quarterback, maybe you lean more on those 2 top tailbacks that you have in conference. I think you might see a lot more running in this football game than some outlandish plays. Can it go over? It's action. These games get right up to that number as is at 64.5. But I just think this game might be slowed down just a bit because the running games are so good and they might lean on it on both sides.
Yeah, I think the line's a bit too low. I'm going to rock with Ohio here. Over the years, Donnie, we've been very good in the MAC. I know you have as well. Hal Abrams, you guys are great MAC handicappers. Thank you, Hal. Appreciate it. Ryan Taylor calls us bums.
It's hard. It's the hardest conference to cap, too.
There's such a great dynamic, Donnie, on the chat. Someone says we're great. The other guy calls us a bum. So, doggy dog world, Donnie out there. Bums, you guys suck. You can't pick a fucking MAC game to save your life. But I'm sitting in my mom's basement.
Maybe he's calling bums Western Michigan. Maybe he says Western Michigan's the bum.
Yes, that could be true. But he did at Hal, so that kind of helps. Doesn't help his cause. Daddy89 says go 49ers. Good luck. You're at a tough part in the season. Another disaster by ESPN, Desmond in the booth. I disagree. I like Desmond Howard a lot. I think he's terrific. I don't know why.
He stinks.
I'm not a big fan of his.
But he's a big name though. Yeah, he's a big name though.
I don't agree with that. I like him. I think he could be a little annoying with his laugh, but I think he's good. I mean, he's nowhere close to Teddy Atlas. And Teddy Atlas was fast. Desmond's not bad. I think it's actually pretty cool, Donnie, that Desmond actually doesn't big time and say, I'm not doing Ball State, Toledo. Most of these guys are shitheads. They want to be doing all these big games.
No, he does the MAC
Desmond
every year,
Howard,
I guess. They can't put Desmond on any big game.
Impressive.
So the MAC is perfect because not a lot of people are watching. He doesn't really know schematics of football, even though he played. But he's a big name. So when you hear Desmond Howard, it's like, hey, Desmond's calling the game. So I understand why ESPN does it.
As far as for me, I was impressed by it. I mean, he, as the college game day and all that kind of stuff that he does, he could just kind of say, you know what, I'm not going to do it. But he does it, and I think that's kind of cool that he still does those games. What else we got here? NIU Akron. Listen, I will never try to tell you that you should bet an under in a 37 in a college football game. Listen, I think this is a bit of an overreaction. This line's too low. I mean, I would just say over for principal.
Rain, Jeff. Rain all night in the forecast in Akron, Bron City.
Hmm. Akron
But I
22
don't
points a
know,
game.
Jeff.
They're
You
not.
see 37 and you do want to take it over, but have you watched, like, because I've watched both of these teams' full gameplay offense. It's astounding. It's astounding how far Northern Illinois has fallen off on offense. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game that I haven't been involved much with these two teams. Akron has had major issues with turnovers. You look at the last four games; you've turned the ball over 11 times. So that's a big concern. I mean, that's almost three turnovers a game. If this is bad weather as well, like you say, I almost
I'm
kind of
not even
like
so sure the bad weather even
be
hurts them,
honest.
Jeff. Does the bad weather even hurt these guys? They can't throw it more than 1 yard, either one of these knucklehead quarterbacks. You
Doesn't
know what I mean?
matter. I mean,
I don't even know if the rain even hurt. Yeah.
balls. It does. Ball's slippery, handing the ball off. You got, these skitsy players that can't hold on to the football no matter what the situation is. I'll be honest. If you feel it's going to be low scoring, home dog looks decent here. I mean, a lot of the public jumping into Northern Illinois, I would imagine. Akron, a home dog looks pretty decent here, but a tough game. They don't have much on it.
No, and it's going to be a messy game. But the one good thing is it is a turf stadium there in Akron that might be able to help out. I don't know. I mean, the kid can run around for Akron, which if it's bad weather on turf, maybe makes a play or two back there. It's 3rd and 11. He scrambles, can run for 20. But this isn't one of those games where I'd say, boy, if you want to get caught up on the MAC and have some fun watching a MAC game, this isn't your game, man. You shouldn't even have this game on your TV. Ohio Western Michigan will be a much, much better game. Don't worry about this NIU Akron game. It'll set the country back 30 years on offense, and especially if its weather conditions are hampering it. Neither one of these teams has a passing game in the 20th century. So there's some better options out there in the next game we'll talk about. It's much better, certainly, than this one.
313, 314, Temple University heading on the road to take on Central Florida. Central Florida 10.5, total 61. Mackenzie Milton questionable with an ankle injury. We'll see how he plays if he goes. Look, as far as it mattering though, I mean, the writing is on the wall for Temple. They can't stop the run. They've given up 200 or more yards in 4 of the last 5 games. They can't get stops on the ground, and that's the major concern here. They've been very good against the pass. They haven't allowed a 200-yard passer since Buffalo in week 2. Problem is, a lot of these teams have crushed them on the ground. Central Florida, definitely a team that can put the ball on the ground. They ran for 316 last week against Eastern Carolina. Again, if Milton doesn't go, I don't think it's the end of the world for UCF. They're at home here. Offensively, they've looked pretty good. And Temple's just been so inconsistent offensively at times this year. They've looked real good, and they've looked real bad. They've kind of righted the ship lately, though, winning 5 of 6. Really started to turn it on since Frank Russo came in. They changed that quarterback. Ever since Buffalo, Donnie, it's been kind of a nice season for the Owls. The only loss coming against BC. That was only a 10-point loss to an ACC opponent, but this is a step up. You've had 2 out of 3 easy games here. You beat Cincinnati. You're off a bye. You had some time to prepare, but the running is on the wall, Donnie. Temple can't stop the run.
Yeah, and then you throw in, it looks like Raquel Armstead, Jeff, going to make an appearance tonight. We'll see how healthy he is off his injury, the same way we're looking at Mackenzie Milton in this situation. But, when you look at Temple's overall schedule, and a nice win versus Cincinnati, that was at home. Temple plays very well at home, year after year after year. They're going to give honest efforts. Struggle a little bit on the road. You don't like to see, the Navy 24-17 type game. It looks like Temple's going to try to slow down the offense game. And look, if Raquel Armstead is healthy and ready to go tonight, that's a massive upgrade for the Temple offense where you can control the clock. But this is UCF. This is on their home turf. If Mackenzie Milton plays or doesn't play, I'm not so sure it factors in. I'm still looking at UCF in this one, winning this game by double digits or more on the road. If Temple was at home, I'd have a completely different objective here. But I've just seen enough out of UCF where they usually put these middle-of-the-road type teams away fairly easily.
Hal Abrams, if UCF wins here, they'll run the table again. Yes, and no one that matters will care. Nobody cares that they're going to win every game. Doesn't matter. Still not going to get to the college football playoff. Damn, does that suck? No, we're going to be so upset that they don't get there. Not. Nobody cares. UCS scores at will against Temple, says Corey 88, man. Yeah, I mean, I would keep the ball on the ground if I'm Central Florida. That has been a problem for Jeff Collins' defense. Yeah, I mean, I'm not betting against. I wouldn't bet against him at home here, especially without Armstead. He may or may not play. You know, but Temple Donnie
I mean,
generally
they
plays
bust
pretty
teams
well
at
in these
home,
kind of
Jeff,
games.
UCF. No, I know, but I think a couple years
Yeah.
ago they went down and got crushed by UCF. But I mean, FAU 56-36 at home, Pittsburgh 45-14 at home, SMU 48-20 at home. Like they just lay the wood down there, man. That's tough.
And not for nothing. I mean, against top tier competition, what has Temple really done? I mean, they lost to Buffalo and lost to BC. Both teams that are better than they are. They gave up 45 and 36 in the process. This is a better football team. They've improved, but this is another level. I feel like for them. Let me ask you: Is this UCS best opponent, Donnie? You think?
No, Memphis is better. Pittsburgh's better than Temple probably overall. I wouldn't say it's their best.
No, no, Donnie. Come on, give the
Pittsburgh
boys
would
from
beat
North Philly a
Temple.
little credit.
I like Temple. I
I
like
f-
Temple, but I think Pittsburgh overall is more talented than Temple is.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. But again, pretty good opponent here. But this is the kind of a high end opponent they're playing. So overall, Donnie, for me, only one I really love is that Ohio game. I would probably go with that. Numbers at 3 though, which sucks. You know, we wouldn't mind getting it below, but I think it's going to be a fairly easy one to cover personally. We'll talk more college football a little bit later on the 3 o'clock show. If you have a game you want us to talk about, call in. We'll take your call. And Donnie, I want to kind of shout out to all the listeners real quick before we get into the rest of the show. We have this trivia contest we're doing, Donnie. $100 gift card to Amazon for the winner. I will pick out of a hat the winner the day before Thanksgiving and announce that. We have a lot of people on the list, Donnie. So if you want to win, you want to get connected, and you have a chance to be on the list, here's the list. A lot of people on here. Give us a call anytime on the show at 3. And Donnie, you've assisted a couple people. You assisted our friend Riley
Mhm.
yesterday on a Vince Wilfork question. The questions aren't very
Yep.
difficult either. I mean, very simple
No.
stuff. Where did Jason Witten go to college? That kind of stuff. There's no need for help on these questions. And again, I want to make sure and have people understand there's still a lot of time to get on board. We want to make it a little difficult. Let's move on to NBA action, which I was surprised to see this. Donnie heads a little big after his win the other night on the
Yep.
Cavaliers. So now he's all about the NBA. But last night, we mentioned that Derrick Rose dropping 50, a couple other notable scores. What do we got here? What do we have? The Mavs. Mavs Lakers is a good one. Lakers win but don't cover. I'll tell you a team that did cover, and that's the San Antonio Spurs, Donnie. And good for them. Public seemed to like the Suns. There was Suns money coming in, even without Devin Booker, which is kind of crazy. They were at home. They got boat raced in that game. Nets lose to the Pistons. I was on the Nets. Actually, they won, but they didn't cover. I was on the Nets. I lead the 2.5. I've lost 3 straight in the NBA, Donnie. Uh-oh. The wheels are
Mm.
falling off for big men on campus. Still profitable, though, in the NBA by a couple units. We had a big over in the Pelicans-Warriors game, which is no surprise to anyone. Let's get into today's action. Donnie, you mentioned a possible false flag in the NBA. Can I guess
Woo!
what it
We
is?
got
'Cause I
lucky.
have
We got
not
2 of
looked.
them.
I have not looked, and I want to see if I can guess, Donnie. I'm going to
Go
go
ahead.
with the false flag is we have 6 games here. Cleveland.
Yep. Yep. That's one of them.
Why is why don't you okay, the other one would be let me see here. It's a side, right, Donnie? No total.
Yep. Yes. Always side. Yeah.
Uh I'll be honest, I would think it's I would say it's the Bucks, but I don't know.
Nope.
I don't see any other ones.
Atlanta Hawks. If you ain't betting the Cavs and the Atlanta Hawks tonight, you're not doing it right in the NBA, Jeff. Those are the 2. Cleveland by
Yeah,
far. 23% of the spread tickets, 34% of the money. Line opens up at 6, down to 5 at most outlets at this point. That looks like a good one. Then Sacramento Kings, Atlanta Hawks, 26% of the money, 26% of the tickets, 29% of the money coming in on the Hawks. That line opens up at 2, stays at 2. Those two games right there, they just look like prime falls, waving that white false flag.
Donnie, for me, you're kind of a gift and a curse. You're a gift because you're a talented guy that's good at things, but you're also a curse because you're giving away my system. Like I don't want the whole world to own this thing because people are going to start figuring it out and they're going to start, as always, ruining it. But you're right, Cleveland be a stone cold one. As far as one other one, and I will point this out: this Sixer team has been a complete fade on the road and a bet on at home. Tonight, though, I've actually had some decent luck with this Clipper team. So, I have to see where these numbers go because the public will take Philly at home. They will. That no one likes the Clippers, a long trip, because they think that matters in the NBA. If this line goes down to 5 or 4.5, I'm going to have some interest in the LA Clippers here. So we'll keep abreast. But good call, Donnie. Like the call in Cleveland. You've bet them a couple times. Hey, Trick laughing says fading the public. LOL. Hey, then fade what we're doing then. Hey, Trick, if you feel like it. But someone asking where the show is, the radio show. You can find it on our Twitters. You can also find it on iHeartRadio. Just type in WCKG. You can also find it WCKG in Chicago, Fox Sports Radio. You can find it on Periscope. You can find it really everywhere. We tweet it out. SBR tweets it out. So if you follow them, it's quite important. Sixers need to make a strong offer for Jimmy Butler. I've heard they may. We'll see. People, Donnie, the world is falling around here. People want Ben Simmons traded after one game. Everyone not happy around here, Donnie, with this Sixer team. But I don't blame them. Let's get into some NFL thoughts for the weekend. We got a couple of minutes here. What do you think, Donnie? Where are you looking?
Yeah, what do we, just taking a look at some overall action here and a couple of these point spreads that are going. Like, what are we going to get out of Cleveland? And I don't mean like, hey, you're going to get some really good play and what's the quarterback going to do? What's the level of interest in Cleveland this week, Jeff? You've just completely detonate your front office, or not your front office, your actual head coach and the offensive coordinator. You put some dude named Freddie in here who's going to be calling plays. You have a maniac, an absolute maniac that spouts more lies than I don't even understand, where he's coming out yesterday giving press conferences saying, like, look, I took the job here in Cleveland because people dared me not to take it. And I had 11 interviews set up, 4 of those interviews for being a head coach that said, you don't even have to interview. Here's your check and just sign it and you can be the head coach of my football team. This guy is high on acid as a coach, Jeff. Greg Williams, is he? Maybe he has CTE from all the bounties that he gave out. I have no idea where he's coming from. So I'm interested to watch what you actually get out of Cleveland this week when you have a maniac as your head coach now in place and no offensive structure whatsoever. Can you imagine Jeff Manziel in this situation going, yo, I got this dude Freddie here. Now is my point of contact here on offense. I'll see you guys at the club this week, and I'll show up on Sunday and play. What are your thoughts, Jeff, on Cleveland this weekend and what you're going to get?
Well, I'm looking at this Greg Williams, and I'm looking at some of these ridiculously imbecile type quotes. I mean, Donnie, listen to some of these quotes from Greg Williams from an interview with Fox Sports. I get a cell phone just like you and everybody else, and I get a lot of phone calls from people who are dying to come and play here. Another comment. I'm just telling you to have a salary cap space, to have a chance to talk to people that you really want to wear the silver and black. That was John Gruden that said that. So you see kind of the ridiculous things that both these two are saying. I didn't hear this quote from Williams. Is this recent? Did he say this recently? Yeah, this is today.
He had 11 interviews for a head coach sent up. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I heard about that. I remember him saying that in Hard Knocks. But what players are dying to come and play in Cleveland?
Players that are probably dying,
Yeah, good point. Man.
This guy is insane. Can he coach defense? Is he like upbeat energy and crazy? And that's sometimes what you want for your D coordinator. But is that what you want as your head coach? Like, what is going to be taking place out there on Sunday? I can't even fathom what's going on, which is why it's so
Let
interesting
me
to
ask you:
watch.
Is
You
this?
could get, yeah,
I want to ask you: Is this? Do you think this is a better coach or a worse coach than the coach they had?
a better, you can't, well, there's nothing worse than Hugh Jackson.
Okay,
Like,
think it,
you could have had just
okay.
like a crash test dummy out there, coach the football team, and it would be much better than Hugh. But it is a step up because at least you have somebody who's a football mind who's had some success in the NFL, not like Hugh Jackson. So I think it is a little bit of an upgrade as a head coach.
Would you agree that he might be the worst coach ever, Hugh Jackson?
Yes, by far. It's not even close. Like a little guys have
Like,
gone 0 and
is there
16
anyone
and got
even
fired,
close?
and they were better. There's nobody close. What was the stat yesterday? Like Bill Belichick can lose his next like 600 games and 600 games in a row and have a better winning percentage than Hugh Jackson. I mean, it's unbelievable.
That's amazing. I kind of thought about that recently, and I'm thinking there really isn't anyone worse. I'll tell you, Donnie. As
Like I
far
don't
as
like how did you even
to
stick up
me,
for him? Like that's the whole point. Yeah, go ahead.
the worst coach in like sports I've ever seen, I thought was Eddie Jordan. He was a terrible coach. I don't know how he ever like
Doug
did anything at a high level, but yeah, I
Doug
mean,
O
as
back
far
in the
as
day. I mean, there's some bad.
sure, sure, but yeah, I mean, Hugh is definitely terrible. He's definitely the worst.
And they all seen it inside. Like, you know what I mean? You had GM after GM, baseball GM, lawyer GM, John Dorsey, old school GM. Hey, yeah, man, he's a good guy in the locker room down there. What does that have anything to do with winning football games? Bill Belichick is the biggest bastard on the planet, but he wins, so you're going to leave him alone. Who cares if you're like a nice guy and, family? Cleveland Browns are family. Amazing.
Yeah,
How
really,
about Jeff? How about the
really
next one here?
pathetic.
Peterman. Can he be effective this weekend? How about that? We're
No,
going back to
no, no,
Nathan
no, no, no,
Peterman in action this weekend. Now, is Nathan Peterman an upgrade over Derek Anderson?
no,
What do you think about that?
probably not.
No, get out of here.
I think they're
Absolutely. This
both.
guy's got two legs.
I
Derek
think they're.
Anderson was in a wheel. Derek Anderson looked like he was in one of those life alert commercials. Like, dude, I'm about to fall down. I can't get up. I don't want any part of this. I just get on that little, maybe he had like the hurricane with him. I mean, he had no business playing in the NFL these past 2 weeks. He was anything
Peterman.
could be enough. They could put JD in the Wildcat the entire football game and be better than Derek Anderson.
Peterman's terrible with his arm, though. They're both horrible. So no, I do not think it'd be effective. But I don't know how effective the Bears will be either, because I think the Bills' defense is pretty good. So I would go under in that game.
Ooh, we're going to go head to head in that one this weekend. Next up, Jeff, how about this one?
Yeah.
Packers shake off the loss. Could have had you had the Rams on the ropes. You had a double-digit lead. You let it slip away. But look, 2:05 left in the game. Sir Aaron Rodgers is going to take the field. What are the odds, Jeff, that Aaron Rodgers is going 3 and out or not getting a field goal with 2 minutes to go in that football game? What would you set the odds at that he was going to fail?
Uh, that he was going to fail.
Yeah, if he was actually going
15%
to fail
maybe.
in that spot and they'd go like 3 and out and be done.
Yeah,
What
probably
was the
none.
percent? Yeah,
15.
exactly. He was going
Maybe.
down there to at least, yes, he was going down to at least get a field goal. They were winning that football game. Self-sabotage. Now you go into maybe one of the hardest places to win when Belichick and Brady are healthy and ready to go and see what you get. Now, look, I see a lot of people out there, woo, man, Brady, or excuse me, the Packers, this and that. That Packers defense ain't holding up in New England, man. Look, New England basically took that night off versus the Buffalo Bills, threw 15 to 30 plays in the flat for 5 to 6 yards to keep the chains moving, knowing Buffalo couldn't score anything. Now you're going to get a look at this Packers defense here. And yes, the Packers defense did play decent on the road versus the Rams. Look, this is a different animal here. I mean, they're going to be coming at them in every wave. You're going to have more running backs active this weekend for the New England Patriots. Gronk will be another week healthier. Gordon getting back into the offense. Edelman. It's going to be a really good football game here. And I know a lot of people say, ooh, getting 6. Go with Green Bay. That means you think Green Bay is going to win this football game outright in New England. Not so sure about that.
Hey Donnie, with Hugh Jackson, don't you think it'd be funny if
Mhm.
he came out like with like some kind of comment that remember when Greg Williams said that he had like all these different offers? Dude, that would be hilarious if
Yeah.
he came out and said that. Like I got 7 offers. I'm just deciding on it'd be funny if he just came out and said that, wouldn't it?
No, he should say something like that. Remember we were at the IFBC, one of the more funny things is when Jim Fossil was talking at the IFBC, and usually the coaching fraternity supports itself. He sold out Hugh Jackson like I never heard anybody in my life just sell another coach down the river. Like, I interviewed the guy and basically this isn't a direct quote, but I interviewed him and something was off with this guy. Like, he didn't know what he was talking about, and I just dismissed the interview, and we were never gonna hire that guy. I got such a laugh out of that at the
Here's a
IFBC where one coach would actually do that to another.
here's a trivia question for you, Donnie. If you can get this one, you're good. Now, he is not the most famous alumni at his college, Donnie. He was the second most famous. What
Mhm.
university did Hugh Jackson play quarterback at in the mid '80s?
I don't even know. Was it a Division One school?
No, it was not. I actually don't even think they have a football program still. I'll just tell you. And he wasn't the most famous.
Yeah.
He played quarterback at Pacific, Donnie. Now, the most famous
Jeez.
person to come out of Pacific was Michael Olowokandi, if you remember correctly.
Oh,
Played
yes.
for the Clippers. He was the first pick in the overall draft. But yeah, there's a little
Man.
trivia for you. Uh, Don, before we end the show today, wanted to discuss this power tripping fuckhead coach down in Florida that was caught on tape berating his player in an office after the player asked to transfer. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, I did. Yep, I did.
Dude, is there anything worse on earth than like guys like this? Like seriously, I can't stand these fuckheads. Like these dick power tripping coaches. Many of them are generally bald and like in their 40s, and they're just complete dicks to everyone. But I want to shout out Donnie Barstow Reeves, a friend of mine that wrote an article about this. I mean, he said it best. I mean, outside of Dave Bliss, I mean, this has to be the most damning audio you've ever heard from a college because this is pathetic behavior. And he's still the guy. If you listen to an interview after the fact, he still doesn't even think he did anything wrong. He's just a power tripping shithead.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of coaches are like that, man. I can't tell you how many, I could count probably on both of my fingers, not have enough, where coaches have made ridiculous comments to kids, in the heat of passion or not in the heat of passion. That's just the type of individuals they are. I'll send you right back to where you came from. I'll call your mom tonight. She can pick you up. I want nothing to do with you anymore on this football team. I mean, I've heard it all as well, but I like to get both sides. The guy's in the wrong. I mean, we're not going to argue and say this guy's like, yep, I agree with the guy because he's a knucklehead idiot. But this is pay to play college basketball, man. And if you have one kid that's bombing in class, a thief, not showing up for practice, and not playing well, coaches tend to lose their mind because they're a for-profit team. No matter what you say, this kid's going to be 5 grand here, 10 grand here,
Yeah,
15
but
grand here. They
th-
get looked at like
this is a
stocks in
prep
trading
school. This is
cars. They're
not.
the idiot coaches. Yeah, but it's a
Yeah,
fake
this
prep
is
school. All the prep
not
schools
on
are all
that
fake
level.
anyway because nobody goes to
Woodbury was
class there. So
asked.
I mean, it's you know what I mean. Yeah.
Woodbury was asked about does he regret his interactions? No, fuck no. Yes and no. I regret the fact that I tried to be a father figure. It hurts my heart. Now, keep in mind, there's no evidence that he did do that, but yeah, this was. I got to tell you though, good for the kid that recorded this. I mean, you gotta nowadays, Donnie, you gotta recognize that if you're with and talking to someone, or they could be recording you. I mean, again, this is kind of blackmailish in a way by the kid, but I guess he did have a reason. I don't know much about the kid. I'm gonna guess that there was something going on here. Maybe that I don't think this guy just went in to transfer and the coach flipped out. It seemed like there were other things going on here, which we don't exactly know. But pretty pathetic behavior by Mike Woodbury here, who is also the CEO of this school. Brandon
Yeah,
Foster,
I mean,
love
it's a
the
it's a
show, Jeff
sham
and Don.
school anyway.
Thank you. Started watching you guys last year. Who do you like better in Survivor Pool, Dallas, Carolina, or Seattle? Donnie, you want to answer that?
Oh, it's got to be Carolina, right? Jeez. Dallas. I mean, look, Dallas can lose
Very
at any
good.
time with their offense, even though they are 6.5 point favorites. But if If Fitzmagic goes in and beats Carolina in their own place, then I'll be shocked by that. You know what I mean? You can come in and laugh at me when I told you to take, Carolina, that they should win that.
Donnie, sometimes we find some people in this chat that maybe have had a little one too many, maybe. Now it's very early in the morning,
Hmm.
but I think it's kind of clear that
Not
Pita Selbeaton has been drinking a little bit. He's had some weird comments this morning on the show. They're talking about players or different players when they
I
travel
like
above
it. I like his look.
25,000
Yeah, he could.
feet. And
Yeah, sounds like my type of
now
person.
this guy's saying that
Like, look, man,
coach should have
kid steps
punched the
out of line, throw a
kid.
left at him. Yeah,
I would have loved to have seen that young kid beat the hell out of that coach. You fucking prick. Scumbag.
makes for good. They should be on
Thanks for
TV.
all the
They should have a last chance. Yeah, come on.
Yeah, this would actually be that would actually imagine getting that on camera, Donnie. Fucking hell. Like a hidden camera thing. Bobby
Yep.
Mills, thanks for the time you take doing so many shows. Thank you, Bobby. Appreciate that. I thank you for watching. Yeah, that would have been I mean, then again though, Donnie, do you hear the way what did you watch last chance you the last season or no?
I did not. I've never watched the show, but I've seen some clips in the highlights.
Yeah, so like Jason Brown, the coach at Independence, I mean, he was a real dick, dude. Which is surprising, Donnie, because you would like that show. That's like kind of up your alley,
No, I
as
probably
far
would.
as
Yeah,
like.
right. I
Well,
do have Netflix too. Yeah.
let's wrap it up here, everyone. Thanks for checking us out. Thanks for joining us here on the right side of campus. We'll be back at 3 o'clock on the radio. SBR will retweet that. Join us. Walter Trotter, give us a call. All you guys out there that listen to the show, call in, get your voice heard. We always like to hear from all of you. Donnie, you're enjoying the calls, aren't you? You seem to enjoy that.
Yes. Yes, I do.
Donnie always, when someone calls in, he goes, "Hey, hey." I always hear him say that. Hey, hey. All right, guys, we'll wrap it up. Everyone have a great day. Like the show. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. We got a lot going on at the networks today. Obviously, the radio show a little bit later. I'll be on with Drew Martin a little bit later talking college football. Don will be on the air tomorrow as well. Lot of stuff here. Everyone have a great day.
Oh,
Thanks for
thank you.
checking us out. Bye bye.